Welcome to Kenny's G League, the only podcast in known existence to be all about the Rip City remix. Today we're going to cover last week's games, what we're seeing so far from the offense, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Showcase Cup. So let's get right into it. But before we do, we've got a word from our sponsor, Basket Ghoul. This week, Basket Ghoul dropped a new sweatshirt, the Christmas sweater. A black sweatshirt that says Christmas right on the front in white text. Let people know that you're passionate about Christmas with this sweatshirt. $30, ships in 1 week. Grab it this week at basketghoul.com. This past week, the Remix went 1-1 versus the Santa Cruz Warriors. First game, they were out of it pretty much from the tip. They were down 16 at the half. The Warriors went on a 14-0 run in the third to make it a 30-point game, but the Remix stormed back with an 18-0 run of their own, cutting it to 12 with under 5 minutes to go. The Remix unfortunately ran out of gas after that run and would lose 90-103. In the second game, we saw the Remix get out to a quick lead, leading 26-17 at the end of the third quarter, followed by an 11-0 run to start the second. Santa Cruz would pull within 3 in the third period, but the Remix would go on to win behind 23 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists from Quentin Rose, 17 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists from George Condit IV, and 16 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists from Rayan Rupert. This makes the Remix 5-5 on the season. Now that we've got a little bit of sample size, we're going to look at some of the trends we're seeing from the teams so far. 10 games in, I think we're starting to get an idea of what kind of offense the team is wanting to run, and also seeing what hurdles they're finding as they push through the season. Now, I'm not a basketball guru, not even close, but some things stand out to me already, so bear with me as we kind of go through some of the things we're seeing from the Remix's offense, and if you have any insight into the Remix's offense or things that you have seen, hit me up on Twitter. At Kenny's G League, and we can talk about things you're seeing from the Remix's offense or defense. So if you take a look at the team's shot chart for the season so far, which I'll link in the description, you can see that they don't take very many mid-range shots at all. Unfortunately, they're shooting about 9% below league average on threes from the corner and kind of from that elbow three. And that should be one of the most efficient shots you can take, and 3% below league average at shots around the rim. If you want to do a little bit more of a deep dive into shot selection and kind of how that is talked about within, offensive strategy, the Remix's director of player development, Alex Sarama, has some really good resources on YouTube, which I will link in the description. He gets into a whole different scoring system that he would use in training situations where corner catch and shoot threes are worth 4 points, contested rim finishes are worth 2 points, and mid-range jumpers are worth 0 points. It's a really interesting way to practice. And while, I can't say that that's what the Remix are doing or anything like that, I think just from watching the game, you can see that they're certainly trying to score from the more efficient areas of the court. But unfortunately, they're just not hitting many threes right now and shooting below league average right around the basket. Looking at where the Remix rank league-wide has also been interesting to see. The team's bottom 5 in 3-point percentage, next to last in 2-point percentage, 20th in field goals attempted overall, and 29th place in effective field goal percentage, and true shooting percentage is dead last. Basically, all reasons why they're 29th in points per game as a team. On the other side of the ball, the team is 8th in defensive rating at 105.7, so that's how many points they allow per game on average. 3rd in blocks and top 10 in offensive rebounding. This is in some ways reminiscent of the Blazers recently kind of making their defense their calling card while their offense catches up, although hopefully with Anthony Simons back, their offense is able to catch up a little quicker. Rayan Rupert is really the only player right now shooting the three at quite a good clip, averaging 42.5% on the season. So the plan of shooting a lot of threes is just straight up tough right now. But I'm really intrigued by the idea and love to see the team making strides on defense. And in all honesty, The name of the game here is development. It's a development league. So I'm not very concerned with how the team is shooting at the moment. But I am encouraged in the process that they're going to look for shots in games. And you just work on the rest as you go. I think it's a positive thing and something to watch as the season goes on. Maybe you look for 3-point percentages to rise a little bit as new guys come in this second half of the season. That'll be something to watch for. And, maybe you see a Mo Harkless do the Mo Harkless thing where it gets built into his contract that he's got to shoot a certain percentage from three. So that's kind of what I'm seeing so far from the Remix from game to game. Struggling with the 3-point shot, a little below league average in some other areas, but I think the plan is there, and we just work on the execution throughout the season because it is a development league. That's the whole point, is to develop. So let's look at the Winter Showcase that's coming up. So if you don't know, the first half of the G League season is called the G League Showcase Cup. And in that half of the season, teams play other teams that are in their group. You can kind of think of it as a division in the NBA, like how the Blazers are in the Northwest Division, the Remix are in the West Pod for this Showcase Cup. The Winter Showcase is basically a test for what would become the in-season tournament in the NBA, which, by the way, terrible name, in-season tournament. At least we have the Winter Showcase and the Showcase Cup in the G League. That's a much better name. Sounds a little more exciting. The Winter Showcase starts on December 19 in Orlando, Florida, running through the 22nd. All teams will participate in games in Florida, but not every team is entered into the tournament. So it should be pretty exciting to watch. There's going to be a lot of games to watch in just a few days. If you really want to just wake up and watch basketball all day, it's a pretty good time for you. So the seeding for the tournament works like this. Teams in first place in their regional pod, they get a spot in the tournament. And the following 4 teams league-wide with the best winning percentage are also in the tournament for a total of 8 teams. Currently, the Remix are in 4th place in the West Pod, sitting at 5-5, with 4 games left to go before the tournament begins. Can't say it's looking great for the Remix to compete for the Cup, but crazier things have happened than the team going on a 4-game win streak and some other teams hitting a little bit of a losing streak. So who knows, but it's not looking great right now. They'll play in Orlando regardless, though, and the idea behind the Winter Showcase is that it takes place just before the NBA teams can start signing guys to 10-day contracts. So this is certainly kind of a jumping off point for players to solidify themselves as potentially getting a call up to an NBA team. So hopefully we see some guys solidify their chances of signing a deal with an NBA team. That would be fantastic. So that's what to watch for in the Showcase Cup. I think that'll be really fun. Get a chance to watch a lot of guys in just a few days ball out, hoping to land in the NBA. That'll be a lot of fun. We've got a few games coming up here in the next couple weeks until the Showcase Cup. 2 games against the Stockton Kings, who are currently sitting in 6th place in this West Pod at 4 wins and 6 losses. The first game coming up tonight, actually, as I'm recording this on Thursday. And then we've got 2 games against the G League Ignite, who are also in this West Pod, of course, as that's who we play in this first half of the season. The Ignite are sitting at 2 wins and 8 losses, so you'd love to see the Remix pick up a couple wins there against the Ignite. That'll be one that I've definitely got on my calendar to watch. I want to see a couple of these young guys that the Ignite have that maybe the Blazers will be looking at come this next summer when the draft happens. Who knows? It's an away game, so be watching for the link for that one to catch those young guys play. Of course, after the Winter Showcase, the standings reset. The Remix's standing set back to 0-0, and we play the regular season, as it's called, and then get into the playoffs after that. So short little update today. Be watching these games coming up. I'll be excited to see what the Remix can do here heading into the Winter Showcase. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.